Namaste everyone. A very warm welcome to today's session. Today's session will be a conversation between Dr. Ramesh Bijlani and our guest speaker, Ms. Ruchi Arora Mohan. The topic is career choice in yoga and wellness. Our guest speaker, Ruchi Arora, is a passionate and dedicated holistic lifestyle and yoga instructor who has devoted her life to spreading the transformative power of yoga to her students. Her journey into the world of yoga began post her corporate career of 17 years in media, sales, and marketing with the print industry, when she sought relief from cervical and stress and was looking for an inner relief from a fast paced corporate job. Today, Ruchi is an ardent follower of holistic and healthy lifestyle, which includes diet, nature cure, habit formation, power of sleep, yoga philosophy of living, and emotional well-being. Welcome, Ruchi ma'am. We are delighted to have you along with us today. Over
Thank
to
you.
you and Dr. Bijlani.
Good evening, Ruchi. Uh, it's nice to see you again, although online. Soon after I met you recently in the ashram, uh, I developed a great sort of an interest and curiosity in the way you had moved from one career to another. And this I thought was something which was of great relevance to young people for whom a career choice is such a difficult thing. And sometimes there's a lot of friction also between the children and their parents on this issue. So I thought that you could be a good living example to show how one doesn't have to get stuck in one type of career. One can make a shift even midway. And of course, still you are very young, and one can't say that you will not make any further shifts, but those will naturally be further in line with your inner calling and something which you are even more passionate about than what you're doing now. But all the same, in this sort of a dynamic journey that you've had from one type of career to another, if I go back a little, uh, at school you had commerce and maths, and
Right,
after
sir.
that you graduated in computer applications, which probably was something very far-sighted because to make that type of a choice that early those days, probably it was around 2000, around the year 2000, that you would have made that choice to do computer applications. Because uh, now we can see that knowing something about computers, being friendly with computers, has become just like the 3 R's, which is what all that was done in school those days. So to go through 3 years of education uh, and graduate in computer applications was something far-sighted, irrespective of what you eventually end up doing. And then you soon after that settled down a career uh, in Convergys, which was a leading call center, and that was paying you very well. But same time, very soon after joining there, you developed a cervical issue, severe pain in the neck, which the doctors could not cure. And
Right.
that's what took you to the Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga. And that became a sort of a turning point in your life. So maybe now you can, now that you are here, who can be better than you to share this experience of what actually happened after you joined Converges and how that took you eventually to Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga and how that made you aware of the wider dimensions of health and disease, something more than what doctors generally learn in medical school.
Sure, sir. First of all, namaste, everyone, and gratitude to you, sir, and for uh, letting me be a part of this conversation. This is very close to heart, and the learning has just begun. I would say that because the field of yoga is so wide that I feel that the learning process has just begun. So in 2004, when I uh, realized that when I started working with Converges, I was working in the night shifts, and I used to come back from my office around 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I used to sleep till 3 p.m. and then get ready for work and then leave for work again. All of a sudden, I developed multiple issues. I had ear infection, I had ear pain. I could not sit for half an hour at a stretch of half an hour without just resting my neck, which was very it was something I was bewildered that what has happened exactly, because all of a sudden so many health issues were cropping up, and that too at such an age. And somehow my when I was in my college and I was about to complete my third year, my on the day of my farewell, all my friends were actually attending the farewell in the best of their saris and everything, because that's the day when you really deck up and you really want to look beautiful and be a part of that farewell. And I was on that particular day, I missed my college farewell. I was taking up an interview with Converges because somewhere I really wanted to start working and I wanted to explore more and more. And from there I landed, and during that time when I just got to know that I have been selected and I have to move to Delhi to join Converges, my father, who could not express much by speaking, he wrote a letter to me that do not join a call center or this kind of a job because it will really hit you back in your health, which I did not take up seriously. And he wanted me to pursue with my post graduation. But as I said, that during that time, it's like there's a revolt going on in the head, and you really act on your impulses. And he even sent me a paper cutting that why working in call centers is devastating for health, those kind of couple of articles for me to refer to and back up his letter that I am sending you something authenticated, so please read it and give it a thought. But I did join this call center and I was here, and just within a month of working I was into this state. And after 6 months I was craving for for me to sleep at night. I my The only ask for me was at that time that I just want to sleep at night. I don't want to stay up at night. And somewhere I was realizing that I'm going against the nature, which the nature will not accept, and it will backfire if I don't adhere to what the nature wants us to do. uh, and that was a time that when I was trying to search for doctors here and there, but just I was staying in the YWCA hostel in Delhi, which is just opposite to Morarji Desai Institute. And one day while coming back from the office, I saw that there is therapeutic yoga also that is done over there, which takes care of several issues. So I felt that why not, let me just go there and see what is happening over there. When I entered the institute, I saw the doctors, the yoga doctors made me do certain exercises, and I felt really relieved. And from there on I even connected with a person who is a trainer in acupressure. I got along with him, and he changed my diet, he changed my eating pattern. And also what with just the acupressure science, within 6 months I was much better. So I was very clear that this is something, it is lifestyle which is causing this disease. It is staying up at night which is causing this disease. So from there I made a decision, and when I entered Morarji Desai Institute, I felt that this is the kind of environment that I really want to be in. And I started practicing over there as a student. And yeah, from there my journey began. And once I started, then on and off I was in the practice during the different phases of life. But yes, that was so the moment I used to enter into that institute, I used to feel a shift in the energy. Their meditation hall became my go-to place where I could sit and meditate. So those things really harnessed the power of yoga and self-awareness, which helped me take up that first step. And as you rightly said, I pay a big gratitude to all the obstacles that come in life, because they are the real opportunity openers, because they are the ones that help us look beyond and search for a solution. So you're on mute.
So, although you had a difficult time in your career to start with, it actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Because if you had not developed such a severe health issue, you wouldn't have perhaps stepped into Moraji Desai National Institute of Yoga. And it was there that you discovered that there can be a different way to live, a different type of environment to be surrounded by. And that's how, I mean, although you did not become a yoga professional or yoga teacher straight away, but at least you realized that for your own fitness, this was the way, this was the route to a better lifestyle. Will you share that story that you told about the guard at the Moraji Desai National Institute of Yoga, what he told you once?
Yes. So I will share two people from notes from two people which are engraved in my mind. So there used to be a guard over there who was serving at the institute, who was an employee in the institute since past 15 years. What he quoted, he shared that, and he was a fat one. I asked him once कि भैया आप practice नहीं करते हैं, you don't practice. He said, ma'am, I don't practice asanas, but I practice pranayam every single day. And I practice that for good half an hour, 40 minutes every single day. And since the day I have started those practices, I have not fallen sick. And that was quite a revelation for me, because I was amazed at the power of breath work and pranayam that can hold upon, or that can inflict upon our body. And there was another co-practitioner with me who was very much elder to me. So he used to share that जितना पीड़ा हम अपने शरीर को देंगे, उतनी कम पीड़ा शरीर हमको देगा. Which meant that अगर आप, if you will make your body move and you will give it a positive pain, it will give you the least amount of pain in return. And he used to share that if I used to be sick, I used to skip the practice and I used to come back with cold and cough to the institute. He said, had you not skipped your practice, you would have not landed into cold and cough or any complication. So uh, these impressions were very strong in the mind, which took time for me to grasp, understand, implement. And I must say that this year I have implemented this. And I used to be a person who used to be at an allopathic doctor taking up antibiotics every single month. So I used to have this kind of association with the medicine that every month I used to gulp in antibiotics. This is the first year of my life, starting 1st January. We are sitting on 18th of November. I have not had a single issue till date for this year. I have not fallen sick with cold, cough, or anything. I did fall down. I was in Mukteshwar in the month of July. I had a slip over there, but nothing of something which was coming due to pollution or due to any infection or any viral. And there have been days when I have somehow, I have not been able to practice, but consciously I've been breathing. I'm much more aware of my breath, and now I realize the power of breath.
Uh, on this power of the breath, let me share with you one anecdote uh, which I picked up from Swami Vivekananda Yoga Anusandhan Sansthan, SVyasa, where I did a formal course on yoga for 2 months. There I picked up that there was one patient who had come there, and he had come for a 2 week course, but he went back after 1 or 2 days. And in the follow up, what they discovered was that he went back because he said that uh, in one of the talks, I picked up that it was all basically in my mind. And if I could take the right attitude to life, then the stress will disappear and that will heal me. So once I understood that, I thought there was no need to further stay there. I knew how to uh, take care of my mind, and I left. And he was all right. So then, what the teacher was trying to tell was, what we can learn from this is that the life force is more subtle than the body. The body is a gross manifestation. The life force is a subtle manifestation, and the mind is a still more subtle manifestation. So the more subtle the part of the being which you can take care of, it will automatically bring out the best from the less subtle parts of the body. So if you work directly on the body, yes, it will help, as we do predominantly in the asanas. But then if you work through the prana, the life force, and then it will take care of the body and it will take much less time. So in 10 or 15 minutes of pranayama, you may be able to influence the body more than 1 hour of asanas. And in the same way, the mind is even more subtle than the prana. So if you are able to go to your mind, then maybe in 5 minutes, you will be able to influence the body more than through 15 minutes of pranayama. So the more subtle the part of the being that you are working on, the greater will be the effect that you will have,
Absolutely, sir.
even on the body.
Yeah.
Oh. So that's something very important. But all the same, you didn't make any sort of abrupt type of a departure. Although, I mean, you continued learning about yoga more and more in different courses and so on. But you did join a job which was as a journalist. And you stuck to that for about 15 years with the Dainik Bhaskar and then with Dainik Jagaran. And that went on for 15 years. So maybe you can share whether that was a job which was more in keeping with your passions, or you just did it because you wanted to have a job and same time it gave you enough time, left you enough of spare time to learn more about yoga.
So, I came to know, or so after Converges, my whole focus was that I wanted to be in an assignment which let me sleep at night, and it's something which is, fulfilling and enjoyable as well. So interestingly, during that time in my hostel, there was a vacancy displayed for executives in sales and marketing at Dainik Bhaskar, which was just nearby for me. It was at a walking distance. And interestingly, during that time, my roommate, she was working with India Today at that time. And she told me that it is a very interesting profession because you get to meet different kind of people, you meet different clients, you speak to them, you understand their advertising and marketing needs, and you go deep into their brands and all. So the one factor that was striking a chord with me was there was a lot of traveling in it, and I love to travel. And I was like, okay, let me pick up something which helps me travel in Delhi also and outside also. So that was another reason, that plus, yes, so traveling gave me that movement, and I feel that that was a blessing in disguise again, because this traveling allowed me some time in between to go back to the institute during my official meetings, also find out a slot for myself, because I used to be on the move. I used to practice also in between. I used to, for good 8 years, I have actually meditated in my car while I have been stuck in the traffic uh, on the way to my office or for any official meeting. So I realized that this. So that was the basic reason, but I never knew that. There is we have Aditya Amar over here. He was my he was my mentor in Dainik Bhaskar, and from there today I am the. It's like the universe connecting the dots back. We are working back together on wellness together in a big way, and we are trying to make it big. And where we are doing yoga, pranayam, meditation, so it's like meeting the right people. Sometimes the universe just puts you into situations or places so that you connect with the right people with whom you are destined to connect further with.
Yes, and as Sri Aurobindo has said, every line and curve in our life has a meaning.
True.
So sometimes the difficult phases have a meaning. They can be our wake up call, the way that job with Convergys was for you. But then what next? The clue for that was also provided because you were just opposite the Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga.
Absolutely, sir.
And then when you wanted to continue this journey on with yoga, but same time wanted a job, you happened to spot that advertisement, which gave you just the right type of job, which satisfied your uh, passion for traveling. You could meet a lot of people, which also has its value, and it still gave you enough time to pursue more and more studies in yoga, which went beyond what was strictly necessary for your own fitness.
Right.
So that's how. So then, how is it that you decided to quit even that job after being with it for about 15 years in 2020?
Uh, Once again, it came back to nature, sir. I was feeling that somewhere I was sitting at a I was the youngest in my team when I left my assignment, my last assignment, and I was heading a team of 20 people over there, heading three regions of Dainik Jagran. I was taking care of their northern region, the western region, the Bengal region, and also Indore. So I had a team of good 20-25 people with me, and all these people in my team were at an average age of 10 years elder to me. So I was I was at a very good position. But having said that, somewhere it was hollow inside for me because I was earning, I was spending, but somewhere I was feeling that I am not designed for this. This is something which is very, very common. I am designed for something better. And during as soon as with the onset of winters, this feeling used to be all the more aggravated in me, because when there was sun outside and I wanted to be out in the sun, consuming the sun during winters, I was sitting inside the conference rooms with my team and discussing numbers with them. So I felt that somewhere I am going against, I'm this is not life. I believe in enjoying small moments of the day, and I feel that is what makes life much bigger. And I was missing out on those moments, so I was not able to enjoy a grand lunch at home in the winter afternoon, or the sun, or many such moments which could help me, which could have helped me uh, feel about a much better and you synced life with the nature. So that was not happening, and also I was completely stressed out also, because in somehow there is unwanted stress in the corporates, and we design that stress because we want to extract the best out of people. And but I could not do that to my team. I did not want to do that to my team. And I was at a point where if anyone used to come for an interview in my team, my first question used to be, do you practice yoga? Do you practice meditation? Because I developed this feeling that if the person is practicing meditation, if the person is a practitioner of yoga, definitely that person is much better capable of handling stresses of the corporate and still being joyful at workplace, which was not a scenario. And I used to push my team to meditate, to practice, and these things used to happen. So when this was then I realized, I felt that COVID has come for a cause, and I took it in a positive way, and I felt that it's time that I really plunge into something, into my calling. I realized that after my school life, it was only yoga where I had started studying. I did not study in my college. I was doing BCA, but I was not studying. I was just passing my exams. I was studying for some time for my exams, but actually, when it came to studies, so I have a notebook over here. This is from the year 2004. I used to make notes whenever I used to be in my any of my sessions. And after my school, I realized that this is one subject which is making me or encouraging me to study, or that is something that I want to study and accumulate more information about. So when I realized this calling, so I realized that yes, exactly, this is the calling, because that's something that I'm really curious about. And it is something that can let me wake up at 4 a.m. without any alarm. It is something that can keep me up for any meditation. I cannot, generally, I'm not a night person, but if there is a meditation which is generally like moon meditation happens in the night, which we do till 11 p.m., for that I don't feel sleepy. So from those indications I realized that this is the calling.
Uh, as you said quite rightly, as you said, that when you were working as a journalist, you realized that that is not what you were really designed for. And yet you stuck with it for 15 years because it was a necessity. And at the same time, something else was brewing in your mind. You were spending some time with something which was more aligned with your passion. And when the time came, you quit. This is what, the mother has called a temporary occupation. That is sometimes for various reasons we can engage in a temporary occupation. But if we handle that temporary occupation sincerely, with full dedication, putting our heart and soul into it while we are in it, we don't carry it like a burden. We try to enjoy it as much as we can and do it, you can say briefly, in the spirit of karma yoga. If we do that, sooner or later, we'll discover our true inner calling. And as soon as you were sure about what your inner calling was, you quit that also. Before we continue with your journey further, I'll now turn to Sri Vidya, who is a psychologist and who deals with exactly this type of issues, helping not only very young people at the school leaving stage with their career choice, but also many who want to make a mid career sort of a shift, because
Okay.
what they have been doing so far is either entirely against their grain, or at least that is not their final calling. So over to Sri Vidya.
Dr. Bijlani. Thank you, Arundima. And Namaste, Ruchi ji. Your journey is very inspiring, and heartfelt thanks for sharing it so candidly, because there are so many of us out here and otherwise also in the world who might come across people who are not happy doing what they're doing, but don't have the courage or don't have the clarity of what to do next. So, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I felt called to attend your session today. So, thank you. Yeah. I You switched from commerce to a BCA, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying because I work with younger minds. So I'm going to take your journey from the time you were in school to probably here, and I won't take more than 10 minutes. Is that all right in terms of time management? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So, you know, because I work with teens, what makes you choose subjects at that point in time? I mean, why did you choose commerce? Do you have any idea where that came from?
I think during those times there was a real lack of professional guidance. And my brother was very good in studies, and he is still a marvelous teacher. And I felt that that's one. So he took up accounts and commerce, and when he used to study, and I used to figure out that what is he studying, I felt that this is something which is very interesting. So also there were limited resources. So I was in Kanpur, where accessing to too many coachings or tuitions was everything was had to be near the home, so that we could pick up the bicycle and reach out to the tuition center and everything. And during those times, these professional institutes like Fitji, and these were not so much prevalent over there. I felt that as the easiest option to take up, where in somebody would be there to guide me. And so that was the reason of taking up accounts, commerce, and I wanted maths to be there, because again, he is very good at maths. So I was sure that he's going to guide me, and I'm sure that with my hard work, I'm going to surface up to, wherever I'm about to reach. And interestingly, when I passed out my grade 12, my cutoff was very nice. And I have my school friend also over here, whom I met during my yoga journey recently. So my percentage was very good, and I could have applied in Lady Shri Ram College in Delhi, but I was not aware that I am eligible for that and I can go to Delhi because I came from a small city. So I had this big fear of coming to Delhi because Delhi happened to be a big city and all. So from there, I chose a very easy escape to Chandigarh because my relatives used to be there. And if I was in Kanpur and I studied further, I was very clear that I will not be able to move out much because of the restrictions, general restrictions, the transport issues, and the kind of city and protection it had for girls and all. So, those were security reasons per se. So, I was given a choice that either I do a course in Kanpur, which I do it as a correspondence course while sitting at home, or I move out to Chandigarh and there I explore. And uh, I took up that decision that I really want to move out and explore further. So I was the first one to move out of my home and move out of Kanpur. So so that is how that was. So answering your question, it's just that there was lack of there was limited subjects that were available in ICSE. Today there are many subjects available for children and students, but during those days there were limited subjects, and I felt that I'll be guided very well in these subjects. So that was the reason of taking it up.
Yeah, thank you for answering that so beautifully. And I guess a lot of students do that. They take up subjects where they can get good guidance or they feel they'd get good marks. I hear you saying that, your brother was a good mentor to you and that you were given a choice to go to Chandigarh. How did you become a rebel post your BCA? What happened there?
Yeah, so BCA, I did BCA for 3 years, and as I just shared with sir also, I did not study after my school. I was doing my college, but I was not studying. I was everything was being done. My father was investing all the money, but I was not studying. I was just taking up the exams. So I was very honest with myself at that point of time that whatever I am into, I am studying, but I'm actually not into it. I even when I came to Delhi, I joined a course for Masters of Computer Applications. I actually paid up the fees and everything, but I did not collect my certificate because I felt I have not studied. So this certificate is not a true certificate. Even if it comes into my, in my bouquet of certificates, it holds no meaning to me because I have no knowledge about it because I have not studied. So hence there was a disconnect that I wanted. I realized that whatever I'm doing right now, it's important for me to take a certain shift and start working. Might be that will give me a clarity about life, that where am I going, what am I seeking. So that took a lot of time for me to get that clarity, and eventually today I have a clarity.
It's beautiful because you've been so honest with yourself. And I think that honesty with yourself is what propels us forward. And it's rare. Honestly, I find it very rare in current times, especially in the corporate times. Okay, what is your advice really for young people who feel torn apart between their parental demands and their inner calling, so to speak? Because you've been there some years back and you've navigated. Do you have anything that you could share, please?
I feel parents should not seek advice from their circle. Generally, what the parents say is that let me speak to my friends and come back to you. We need to stop that. We need to go to experts. And there are good experts today in career counseling. So if anybody comes to me and asks me that, what should my child do? My answer is very clear that please go to an expert because it is very important. There are uh, so many courses available. There is an opportunity of homeschooling. There are such wonderful avenues that have opened up in today's time, that there is no dearth of opportunity anywhere. All it requires is that if you realize that this is for you, and you devote yourself to that journey, and you will be at the place where you are destined to reach. So I feel that the parents and children both should be seeking out for professional guidance in terms of when there is a confusion between selecting subjects or courses.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that. And I actually wanted to understand a little bit more of your inner conflict, but we could possibly take it later. Because, there is a conflict when your dad sends you a letter and says, these are the challenges of a call center. And these are the conflicts that we face as parents and also as teenagers as well as youth. If there is something that, you could share as to what is it that went through your heart then?
So the first thing was that I felt guilty of spending so much of dad's money in BCA. While I was doing that I was actually not doing that, and I was getting good marks because uh, I my because I'm hardworking. So I knew that whatever you put me into, I will make sure that I'll get good marks in the final exams. But somewhere I was having that feeling that he's investing so much of money on me, but I am actually not serious about this. These subjects are not making sense to me. So this mechanical language, C++, these languages are not making sense to me, and eventually I would not want to sit in a corporate office and keep on working on assignments throughout the night. So I was somewhere. So I really wanted to land into a situation where I could start contributing to the family. I could start earning, and I could be on my own, and I could stop taking money from him, and I could start developing that. I really wanted to fund my further studies by myself. So that was the inner conflict. Despite him sending me so many notes and everything, I was very clear that I need to start earning money now and figure out my life further on my own. So that was the main reason behind things. I feel so, yeah, that was a hidden thing because in those times, money used to be a very crucial thing. People used to be very wise, and my dad was working in a government bank. He wanted me to be employed in a bank. There also I had a conflict. I did not want to do anything which was as mundane as sitting on a seat and doing the banking stuff. So uh, I did not know. So my calling was clear that I have to explore. I need time to explore for myself that what is meant for me. And for that I was certain that I would not want to further make him invest on me, but I wanted to start this journey on my own where I could invest on myself.
Beautiful. So if I were to glean, actually, you were not being a rebel. You were being honest and loving for yourself and for your father and his hard-earned money, and showing regard for that money. That's what I glean from this whole conversation. And whoever hears this, just see if that's actually the situation at your home too. That what the teenager or the adult is doing is actually trying to show their love by trying to be honest with who they are and their time. And thank you for your honesty. I will, of course, have a lot of questions, but I'll probably connect one-on-one. Would love to understand your journey as a yoga practitioner and the realities or the practicalities of, serving that profession. And yeah, that will be nice to know. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think cost of oversimplification and all the risks and errors that go with oversimplification. You're doing the BCA at Chandigarh was motivated more by uh, the desire to move out of that small city of Kanpur and being in Chandigarh rather than any love for the BCA course. And
Absolutely.
that's why you were not really doing much of studies, but you knew that you are intelligent enough to get through and get your degree with very little work. And Srividya has seen many such students, because uh, she has taught in a school and she has also taught in a college before
Okay.
actually taking to this, although she has a PhD in psychology. But then she has gone through all this, and that is what made her finally decide what type of counseling work she will do. She has
Okay.
seen these young people. So for her, it was not new. So it was not the BCA course, but being in Chandigarh, which was important. And you knew at that stage that this is something I'm not really interested in. And therefore, if your father was trying to tell you to go in for post graduation, a natural course would have been to go for an MCA. And since you knew that that is not this type of subjects that you were interested in, you didn't want to do an MCA.
Yeah.
So once again, you didn't know what your inner calling was, but you knew that at least computer applications was not your inner calling. You were sure about what it was not, not knowing what it is. And then, destiny guided you, or that unseen hand which is guiding us in the right direction, provided we are willing to take the hints, guided you to Converges, because that is where you were going to discover at least some of your passions and interests after going through that difficult time. And then while you were working at Converges, you got all the letters from your father. The way I would look at it is that uh, although you had been not a rebel, as Srividya put it, was not rebellion, it was courage and honesty put together, which made you do this. You were honest enough to sort of admit that, yes, computer applications is not for me. And at the same time, you had the courage to say, if this is not meant for me, I will not do more of it. And this type of honesty and courage actually comes from the deepest part of the being, the soul. It's the inner voice, the voice of our deepest self that guides us in that direction. And once it guides us and we decide to listen to that voice, it also gives us the courage to do it. So that's why you had that courage. But then, from the point of view of her father, his writing all those letters to you, in spite of what you were doing, might be seen as a rebellion by a parent. So, in spite of that, his writing those letters shows the unconditional love that parents have for their children.
Absolutely, sir.
So, he was doing it because he loves you. You were doing what he did not want you to do, and yet that love showed through those letters.
Yeah.
And you, in your own way, because of the honesty that you had, and the reason that had made you take that step, uh, sort of made it difficult for you to step back till illness actually compelled you to do it. You wanted to go on, and it was sort of a way of establishing your self esteem, as well as uh, coming out of the dependence on your parents for economic needs. So that all makes sense. So that is why you joined that job. And even after that, the same necessity uh, meant that you take up another job. And of course, from there onwards, there has been no looking back.
Yeah.
Those 15 years that you spent there were spent on deepening your knowledge of yoga, so that at the end of those 15 years, not only you thought that even this is not my final calling, but at the same time, you were equipped for another type of work. So maybe we'll pick it up from here, and then if you like to continue your further journey as it has shaped up over the last more than 10 years. You quit in 2020, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
So quit in 2020. So it's just 3 years that you quit that job,
Yes.
and how it has shaped up within these 3 years.
So my practice actually started deepening. So as they say that, first it's a fling. It's just that you just get attracted by something, and then you get involved with something, and then you marry something. So in 2014, I started getting involved in the practice, and that was a time. The reason why it was during that time, because I lost my father in 2014, and he was diabetic, and he had a very rough journey of the last 1.5 2 years medically that he had to face, with various complications coming up, like gangrene, amputation, and a lot of complications coming up with one disease, diabetes. There I realized that this is not just food, This is because he was eating very simple food. It was not just exercise, because he used to take frequent walks. It was something deep that was coming up. And much later, I realized that there is so much of stress that we store in our body, which we do not release out. And as I shared earlier, also, he did not express himself much. So, whatever was there, it was there inside and it was not coming out. And this was aggravating a lot of diseases, a lot of complications inside. So, 2014, when I lost him, and then I realized that I went back to my practice, and I had, my daughter was just 2 years old at that time, so I had come out of my physically I was much more able to practice, and I had started developing that time also. From there, I started picking up practices and courses in Morarji Desai Institute, where I learned a lot of Shatkarm Kriyas, pranayam, and practices. I took up a certification and a foundation course with them. And there I realized that this is something which is very interesting and I love to study. So for that course, I used to be there at the institute at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I did not need an alarm to wake up for that. So that was an indication that this is something different. And I used to follow whatever my gurus used to guide, that this is what you have to eat. So there was a reason behind everything. I used to started understanding that logic, that why do we need to put nostrils, we need to put ghee in the nostrils in the night. What happens if we do that? So I started developing an interest towards all these things. And from there, my journey started picking up. Eventually, till the time I realized, then I, in the year 2014 or 15, I picked up meditation. uh, my mentor Aditya Amar sir is the one who taught me meditation. And from meditation, I used to I realized that I'm able to actually go much deeper within myself, and I am able to figure out, after couple of years of my practice, I could figure out a source of lot of dilemmas and fears that I have. Now, this was something very unexpected. I was a person who was very fearful of dark. I am still fearful of dark. And through my meditation, I realized the source, that where did I pick up that fear of darkness from. So that was in my childhood. I was in Kanpur, and all of a sudden, it was a city where cuts used to be very, very, too many power cuts in a day. So one day I was in a small storeroom. I was all confined in those walls, and the power went off, and I felt very, claustrophobic in those walls. And so, through my meditation, I could figure out the source of my fear. That it was that day that I picked up a it. It came as a lock. It came as a stress lock in my body, and it formed a big stress lock in my being, which is which fear is being translated upon. And every time I am in dark, or I am in a closed space, I don't like that feeling. So when I unveiled this, I realized the power of meditation. And through so somewhere or the other, yoga was happening through pranayam, or through meditation, or through practice. And then eventually, when 2020 came, and there was mayhem all across, I realized, I got to know about a friend for whom, who was doing very good in life. And just within 10 days, he withered away. So within 10 days, he was detected with some tumor in his brain, and within 10 days, he was gone. So that came as a deep shock, that just 10 days, and whatever you have built up, no matter how young you are, irrespective of anything and everything, you are just gone. So that was the time that really, that incident really shook me up. And I decided that what come may, I will give a I will give my pure bit to whatever I feel I really want to be in. And that's when I took this step of quitting my last corporate job, and I co-founded a venture called Nurture Roots, where we started working with children. So I started teaching yoga to children, and we incorporated storytelling also over there. And then further on, we added a lot of interesting subjects for children. And from there, I moved on to adults. And so that is how the journey shaped up. So somewhere or the other, there were indications, there were signs from the universe that were coming up.
You made a very important point, how we discover what we are really made for. No matter what difficulties it involves, we don't mind them. In fact, we enjoy them. Like, getting up early in the morning can be so difficult, but yet you did it so happily and you didn't need an alarm clock for it.
Yeah,
Sometimes when I express it by saying that if you're really passionately involved in something, uh, you would be willing to pay something to be allowed to do it.
absolutely.
That is the type, that's what shows that you really are interested in something so much that you don't care what you get out of it.
Right.
Uh, and you also revealed that you have done it through storytelling. So maybe in one of the subsequent sessions, we'll have you for storytelling also.
Sure.
We can convey so much to not only children, but also adults. Stories are not only for children, adults
Absolutely.
also enjoy them because we all have a child in us.
Yes, we do.
And maybe we'll end this session with your tagline. And I have a little comment on that. It's absolutely right, but at the same time, it is not complete. You said traveling inside out. Uh, it's not just traveling inside out, it's also traveling outside in.
True.
It was the outer circumstances that
Yes,
took you within,
true.
and then as a result, you underwent an inner change,
True.
and that inner change then started reflecting in your outer life. So
True.
it is the second leg that is inside out.
Yes,
But to start with, it was outside in, isn't it?
true. True.
Oh. Uh,
I
Now,
realize.
if you like to have some closing comments, you can make those, and then we can also open it to questions if anyone among the participants has any question.
Also. So, as you really gave me a good food for thought, which is very right, that when you love something, you would rather pay to do that, pay from your side and you do that. So, this is the journey of being a yoga instructor. It takes time for things to develop, and but I have always believed that the universe listens to you, and if you show up, if you take that first step, then the universe will make every effort to bring things to you. But that first step has to be taken up by you. So I believe I have taken up that step, and the universe has guided me to take up those steps. And now, with so many things happening, so recently being able to go to a cancer hospital and take up a session over there. So it's like once you show up to the universe, then the universe will start showing you up. And then subsequently, your mail came that you want to have this conversation. And so yeah, it was very overwhelming. And uh, it's a very sometimes it is a very difficult journey. But earlier, when in my yoga sessions, so it's like, sir, people for us, yeah, we can suggest people that do not miss out the practice, do not even if you're not practicing, do not miss out the pranayam. But might be people will take time, because everybody's journey is different and they are in a different journey altogether. For them, this would be just a fitness session. So there are days when there are six people who turn up in the session. There are days when only one person turns up in the session. There is a difference now. Earlier, when one person used to turn up in the session, I used to be a bit demotivated that I am putting up so much of time, but people are not turning up. So, what is the point of putting up this time? But now that is not there. Now I enjoy that. So 3 sessions that I take during the day, I don't feel tired by any of it. They are rather these are like recharge hours for me, and I equally enjoy those hours with my practitioners, that I don't feel exhausted at all. So irrespective of one person turns up, nobody turns up, or all of them turn up, it's an equal it's a complete joyful time for me, with no regret at all, because I feel that I am responsible for showing up to the universe. Rest, the universe will guide and take care of things. And with the way things are uh, turning up and developing, I feel the universe is taking care of me. So, and I do believe that universe does take care of us. So I just have to do my bit and be honest with whatever I am doing. So my work is to keep on working and keep on learning and keeping making sure that my bucket is getting filled up. So for that matter, I try and take up you gave me your book, the book that you've authored on food and diet. It is after doing the Ayurveda course that I recently did. It makes that book has simplified food so much for me that I can actually see what is there in my kitchen with a different mindset altogether. And instead of getting biased towards any specific stuff, I have started believing in the simplicity of food and considering it, uniting it with other aspects of health also. The state by which that food has been prepared, the energy that has been put into it, the energy with which it has been consumed. So all those things are really connecting. And so yeah, I am doing my bit. And thank you so much for having me here, sir. It is very motivating and very inspiring for me. And I feel that the universe has put me under your guidance, so I'm on the right path.
Thank you, Ruchi, for all those kind words. Uh, you are also an inspiration for me, and not just an inspiration, but hope for the future with young people like you on the path that you are. The world is secure. The world has a brighter future.
Thank
We
you
are
so
in for a better world. Any questions from any of the participants who have joined this session?
Yeah,
Arunima, is there anything in the chat?
Yakrita, please go ahead. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right or not.
Yeah, hi, my name is Aprajita. So we actually, I mean, Ruchi's been our yoga guru. So thanks, Ruchi, for all that efforts, and we'll always, cherish those beautiful moments and wonderful. I think I've heard about you a couple of times, but it's still, every time you listen to it, you feel nice. So thanks to you. And I mean, I also hope that the universe keeps listening to all of us. And I think you said it is listening. So let's go with that. So Ramesh Bijlani, sir, we have been reading your books so openly. So this is Ekrita. Ekrita is in grade 7, and all her birthday return gifts have been your books. So we still have a copy of it. So so we want to thank you for for giving these beautiful books. So I think these is showing upside down. But we frequently visit the ashram bookstore, and so we wanted to, we felt very happy to have met you at this platform.
Thank you. And this book, which you showed first, How Many Ice Creams, this has now been translated into Spanish by
Oh,
Marcelo, who is also there in this session today. Maybe,
okay.
Marcelo, if you like, you may switch on your video. And he wants to release that Spanish edition of this book on the 9th of December, which is a special day in Sri Aurobindo's circles, because
Yes.
that is Sri Aurobindo's Samadhi day.
Yeah,
So on the
Samadhi.
9th of December, he'll be releasing that book.
Right.
Uh,
My dad was
and-
in Pondicherry yesterday for the mother's birthday. So
so I'll share. Bajita, on her one of the visits, she gifted me this book, and she's the one who got this book for me from Chennai. So
From
thank
the
you.
from the Pondicherry Urban Ashram.
Yes, yes.
Which is this book?
This is a Tale of All Times, The Mother.
Yes. Actually, there are quite a few volumes on stories told by the mother. Apart from the tales that the mother told, there are, I think, 3 volumes of also of slim volumes of stories told by the mother.
Yes, sir. We have all of the volumes. Actually, my grandfather
All very
used
wonderful.
to write down for the publication, so he spent some time with Sri Aurobindo.
And one of the stories Sri Aurobindo Ashram Delhi branch has done in the form of a picture book, The Virtues. In which the uh, virtue that actually turns out to be one of the underestimated ones is the most important, the gratitude. That story.
Okay.
That has been done in the form of a picture book for children by Sri Aurobindo Ashram Delhi branch.
Sure, sir. We keep visiting. So thank you so much. And thank you so much for making our day. I mean, it was wonderful to interact with you. Like, we've just read your books. And then the moment when Ruchi shared me the poster, I was like, we were both of us were. So you want to say anything?
I really love your books. And the favorite one of mine is That's Funny, That's Not Funny, because that's what happens
Yeah.
every day.
So she has the Hindi version and the English version.
So it happens,
Have
you
it
can
read.
relate to it. Huh?
And it still is happening. I don't think it'll stop.
Thank you for liking it. It's meant for all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks. Durjoy, sir, you had raised the hand. If you still have something to share, please go ahead.
Yes, I thought that perhaps it was getting late, but I'll just quickly say thank you very much for sharing, your story, fascinating story. For me, it was like it began with honest inquiry. First, it was an inquiry, from within, and then search for meaning, and then reaching your goal. But then it's always a cycle. You will again have more inquiries, perhaps, as you move along. I just have one small question. You did mention that in your practice, you insert ghee into the nostril. Is that correct?
The ghee, yes.
So what is the reason for that?
It once you lubricate the nostrils with the ghee at night, so actually it clears off the passage and it opens up both the nostrils. So when you wake up, when we generally wake up in the morning, one of the nostrils is generally blocked. So if we start putting up this ghee, then the nostrils are relatively much more open, and it is like a shatkarm, a cleansing practice for the nostrils. So since during that time I was practicing Sutra Niti Kriya, so for that it was a necessity because we used to insert that sutra inside and take it out from the other side. So for that to happen, it was very important that the nostrils are well lubricated and the thread can move from one side to the other side from the nostril passage, nasal passage.
Okay.
Lubricating the orifices is a part of the Dincharya in Ayurveda, and actually it is very helpful in keeping good health.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Durjay sir.
Aditya Amar, sir, please
So
go ahead.
Durjay Shom is a doctor, he's a pathologist,
Okay.
an old friend.
Yes, I think I'll be trying to meet you when we are in Delhi in December. I would love to see you.
Yes, I would be there, sir. I am there from 22nd to 29th.
Yes,
Okay.
22nd to 29th December, we have a spiritual retreat, which Ruchi is joining.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Aditya, sir, please go ahead.
Yeah. Bijlani ji, namaskar. This is Aditya from Mukteshwar. If you recall, I had met you with Monica a couple of years back at your ashram. I live in Mukteshwar with Debu, who's another disciple of yours. And Ruchi has been old colleague, and I'm very happy to see this initiative taken by you, a person like you spending so much of time and passing on enthusiasm to youngsters like Ruchi and all is amazing. Thank you very much for this. And all the best, Ruchi, for your journey. It was very, very inspiring and very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So Aditya sir has been the guiding force in my life from day one, and he's been after me that just practice and find your calling. And so together we are setting up and working towards wellness at Nirvana Wellness. And when I saw him take up his calling when he left Dainik Bhaskar way earlier in I think 2008, so that was very inspirational for me to see that it is possible to listen to yourself and quit whatever you are doing and restart something which really inspires you and makes your life uh, rememberable, and you really want to live it that ways. So he's been that guiding and inspirational force in my life.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll just check the chat box now. Words of appreciation for you, Ruchi ma'am, of course, but no questions as such. Thank you so much for sharing your interesting and very inspiring journey with all of us. And Dr. Bijlani, thank you so much for moderating the conversation and for your valuable inputs as well at every moment. I thank the participants as well for being with us today. We can close today's session with a moment of peaceful silence. Namaste.
Thank you.